I assigned him 4 special stars, and called his name Adam. I gave him his free will. I pointed out to him the 2 ways, light and darkness. I said to him, "This is good for you, but that is bad," so that I might come to know whether he has love toward me or abhorrence, so that it might become plain who among his race loves me. Whereas I have come to know his nature, he does not know his own nature. This is why ignorance is more lamentable than the sin, such as it is in him to sin. And I said, after sin there is nothing for it but death. I assigned a shade for him. I imposed sleep upon him, and he fell asleep. While he was sleeping, I took from him a rib. I created for him a wife, so that life might come to him by his wife. I called her name Mother, that is to say, Eve. Adam, Mother, earthly and life. I created a garden in Eden, in the east, so that he might keep the agreement and preserve the commandment. I created for him an open heaven, so that he might look upon the angels, singing in triumphal song. The light, which is never darkened, was perpetually in paradise. The devil understood how I wished to create another world, so that everything could be subjected to Adam on the earth, to rule and reign over it. The devil is of the lowest places. Lucifer has become a demon because he fled from heaven. In this way he became different from the angels. His nature did not change, but his thought did, since his consciousness of righteous and sinful things changed. Lucifer became aware of his condemnation and of the sin he sinned previously. This is why he thought up the scheme against Adam. In such a form, he entered paradise and corrupted Eve, but Adam he did not contact. On account of her ignorance, I cursed the ground and the serpent. I did not curse mankind nor any other creature, but only mankind's evil fruit-bearing. This is why the fruit of doing good is sweat and exertion. I said to him, "You are earth, and into the earth once again you will go, out of which I took you. I will not destroy you, but I will send you away to what I took you from. Then I can take you once again at my second coming." I blessed all my creatures, visible and invisible. I blessed the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in which I rested from all my doings. On the 8th day I likewise appointed, so that the 8th day might be the first created of the week, and that it should revolve in a revolution of 7,000, so that 8,000 might be in the beginning of a time not reckoned and ending. Neither years, nor months, nor weeks, nor days, nor hours, like the first day of the week. So also that the 8th day of the week might return continually. Now Enoch, whatever I have told you, whatever you have understood, whatever you have seen in the heavens, whatever you have seen on the earth, And whatever I have written in the books by my supreme wisdom, all these things I plan to accomplish. I created them from the highest foundation to the lowest, and to the end. There is no advisor and no successor to my creation. I am self-eternal, not made by hands. My thought is without change. My wisdom is my advisor, and my deed is my word. My eyes look at all things, and if I look at all things, then they stand still and shake with terror. But if I should turn my face away, then all things would perish. Apply your mind, Enoch, and acknowledge the one who is speaking to you. You take the books which you yourself have written. I give you Samuela and Raguela, who brought you up here to me. Go down onto the earth. Tell your sons all that I have told you, and everything that you have seen, from the lowest heavens up to my throne. For I created all the armies and all the forces. There is no one who opposes me, or who is insubordinate to me, for all submit themselves to my sole rule and work, my sole dominion. Give them the books of your handwriting. They will read them, and they will acknowledge me as the creator of everything. They will understand that there is no other God than myself. Let them distribute the books in your handwriting, children to children, family to family, and kinsfolk to kinsfolk. I will give you, Enoch, a defender, my archistratege Michael, on account of your handwritings, and the handwritings of your fathers, Adam and Seth. They will not be destroyed until the final age. I have commanded my angels, Arioch and Marioch, whom I have appointed on the earth to guard them, and to command the things of time, to preserve the handwritings of your fathers, so that they might not perish in the impending flood, which I will create in your generation. For I know the wickedness of mankind, how they have rejected my commandments, and they will not carry the yoke which I have placed on them. They cast off my yoke, and they will accept a different yoke. Nor do they sow the seed which I have given them, but they will sow worthless seed, not fearing God and not worshipping me. But they began to worship vain gods, and they renounced my uniqueness. They will reject my sole rule, and all the world will sin by injustices, crimes, adulteries, and idolatries. All the world will be reduced to confusion by iniquities, wickedness, and abominable fornications, that is, friend with friend in the anus, and every other kind of wicked uncleanness, which is disgusting to report, and the worship of the evil one. This is why I shall bring down the flood onto the earth. I shall destroy everything, and the earth will collapse in great darkness. I will leave a righteous man from your tribe together with all his house, who will act in accordance with my will. From his seed another generation will arise, the last of many. But even out of those the majority will be very insatiable. I shall raise up for that generation someone who will reveal to them the books in your handwriting and those of your fathers. He will have you point out to them the guard tower of the earth, truthful men, and those who carry out my will, who do not invoke my name misleadingly. You will tell that generation, and they, when they have read them, will be more glorified in the end than in the beginning. And now, Enoch, I am giving you a respite period of 30 days to set your house in order, to instruct your sons and all the members of your household about everything from me, personally, so that they may obey what is said to them by you. They will read and understand that there is no other God apart from myself, so that they may carry out all your instructions and study the books in your handwriting accurately and attentively. After 30 days I will send for you my angel. He will take you up from the earth and from your sons to me. The Lord called one of the senior angels, terrifying and frightful, and he made him stand with me. The appearance of that angel was as white as snow, his hands like ice, having the appearance of great frigidity. He chilled my face because I could not endure the terror of the Lord, just as it is not possible to endure the fire of the stove and the heat of the sun and the frost of death. The Lord said to me, Enoch, if your face had not been chilled here, no human being would be able to look at your face. The Lord said to those men who had brought me up at the first, Let Enoch descend unto the earth with you. Wait for him until the specified day. They placed me at night time in my bed. Methuselah was anticipating my arrival, mounting strict guard at my bed. He was terrified when he heard my arrival. I said to him, Let all the members of my household come down. Then I said to them, O my children, my beloved ones, give heed, my children, to the admonition of your father, to whatever is in accordance with the will of the Lord. I have been sent today to you from the lips of the Lord, to speak to you whatever has been, whatever is now, and whatever will be until the day of judgment. Listen, my children, for it is not from my own lips that I am reporting to you today, but from the lips of the Lord I have been sent to you. For you hear my words out of my lips. Out of my lips a human being created exactly equal to yourselves. But I have heard from the fiery lips of the Lord, for the lips of the Lord are a furnace of fire, and his angels are flames which come out. But you, my children, see my face as a human being, created exactly like yourselves. But I am one who has seen the face of the Lord, like iron made burning hot by a fire, and it is brought out, and it emits sparks, and it is incandescent. You gaze into my eyes as a human being, equal in significance as yourself, but I have gazed into the eyes of the Lord, shining like the rays of the sun, and terrifying the eyes of a human being. But you, my children, See the right hand of one who helps you, a human being created identical to yourselves. But I have seen the right hand of the Lord helping me and filling heaven. You see the scope of my activity the same as your own, but I have seen the scope of the Lord without limit and without analogy, and to which there is no end. You hear the saying of my lips, but I have heard the Lord speaking loud like thunder when there is a continual disturbance in the clouds. And now, my children, listen to the discourses of your earthly father. Frightening and dangerous it is to stand before the face of an earthly king. Terrifying and very dangerous it is, because the will of the king is death, and the will of the king is life. How much more terrifying and dangerous it is to stand before the face of the King of earthly kings, and of the heavenly armies, the regulator of the living and of the dead. Who can endure that endless distress? Now therefore, my children, I know everything, for either from the lips of the Lord, or else my eyes have seen from the beginning even unto the end, and from the end to the recommencement. I know everything, and everything I have written down in books, the heavens, their boundaries and their contents, all the armies and their movements I have measured. I have recorded the stars, the multitude of multitudes, innumerable. What human being can see their cycles and their phases? For not even the angels know their number, but I have written down all their names. The solar circle I have measured, its rays I have counted, the hours I have counted, its entrances and all the months, its departures, and all its movements, their names I have written down. The lunar cycle, I have measured its movements, which are in accordance with each day, the diminution which it undergoes during each day and night, in accordance with the hours. The 4 seasons were appointed. From the seasons the 4 cycles were created, and in the cycles the year was appointed. The months were appointed, and from the months I counted days, and from the days I measured off the hours. I counted them and wrote them down. Everything that is nourished on the earth I have investigated and written down. Every seed, sown and not sown, which grows from the earth, all the garden plants, all the grasses, all the flowers, their delightful fragrances and names. The dwelling places of the clouds, their organization and their wings, how they carry the rain and the raindrops, all this I investigated. I wrote down the rumble of the thunder and the lightning, and they showed me the keys of their keepers, the places where they go in and where they go out, by measure. They are raised by means of a chain, they are lowered by means of a chain, so that they do not pull the clouds away and do not cause what is on the earth to perish. I wrote down the treasuries of the snow, the storehouses of the cold and the frosty wind. I observed how, depending in the season, their custodians fill up with them, and their treasuries are not empty. I wrote down the sleeping chambers of the winds. I observed and saw how their custodians carry scales and measures. First, they place them in the scales. Secondly, in the measure. It is by measure that they release them skillfully into all the earth, lest the earth should be rocked by violent gusts. I measured all the earth, its mountains, hills, fields, woods, stones, rivers, and everything that exists. I wrote down the height from the earth to the seventh heaven, the depth of the lowermost hell, the place of condemnation, and the supremely large hell, open and weeping. I saw how the prisoners were in pains, looking forward to endless punishment. I recorded all those who had been condemned by the judge, all their sentences, and all their corresponding deeds. I saw all those from the age of my ancestors with Adam and Eve. I sighed and burst into tears. I said concerning their disreputable depravity, "Oh, how miserable for me is my incapacity and that of my ancestors." And I thought in my heart, and I said, "How blessed is the person who has not been born, who has not sinned before the face of the Lord, so that he will not come into this place, nor carry the yoke of this place." I saw the keyholders and the guards of the gates of hell standing as large as serpents, with their faces like lamps that have been extinguished, and their eyes of flame, and their teeth naked down to their breasts. I said to their faces, "It would have been better if I had not seen you, nor heard about your activities, nor that any member of my tribe had been brought to you. To what a small extent they have sinned in this life, but in the eternal life they will suffer forever." I ascended to the east, into the paradise of Eden, where rest is prepared for the righteous. It is open as far as the third heaven, but it is closed off from this world. The guards are appointed at the very large gates to the east of the sun, angels of flame, singing victory songs, never silent, rejoicing at the arrival of the righteous. When the last one will arrive, he will bring out Adam together with the ancestors. He will bring them in there, so that they may be filled with joy, just as a person invites his best friends to have dinner with him and they arrive with joy. They talk together in front of the man's place, waiting in joyful anticipation to have dinner with delightful enjoyments and riches that cannot be measured, joy and happiness in eternal light and life. I say to you, my children, happy is the person who reverences the name of the Lord, who serves him in front of his face always, who organizes the gifts with fear, offerings of life, and who in this life lives and dies correctly. Happy is he who carries out righteous judgment, not for the sake of payment, but for justice, not expecting anything whatever as a result, The result will be that judgment without favoritism will follow for him. Happy is he who clothes the naked with his garment, and to the hungry he gives his bread. Happy is he who judges righteous judgment for orphan and widow, and who helps anyone who has been treated unjustly. Happy is he who turns aside from the short-lived path of this vain world, and walks in the right paths, and who lives that life which is without end. Happy is he who sows right seed, for he shall harvest sevenfold. Happy is he in whom is the truth, so that he may speak the truth to his neighbor. Happy is he who has compassion on his lips, and gentleness in his heart. Happy is he who understands all the works of the Lord, performed by the Lord, and glorifies him. For the works of the Lord are right, but the works of mankind, some are good, but others are evil. By their works those who speak lying blasphemies are recognized. My children, every just deed, every just decree, every just decision, I have checked out and written down, just as the Lord commanded me. In all these things I have discovered differences. For just as one year is more honorable than another year, so one person is more honorable than another person. Some because of much property, some again because of wisdom of the heart, some again because of singular intelligence, some again because of craftiness, some again because of silence of the lips, some again because of purity, some again because of strength, some again because of handsome appearance,